this is Pigface. Last month I showed you how you can make custom 3D models. One of the reasons I said this could be useful was for a server resource pack, and I wanted to show you today how you can put that resource pack on the server. Just like this, you see it's the exact same resource pack as I have in my loader, except this one is tied to the server and I cannot remove it. Now this video will be a little bit more technical than the last one, but this is pretty important knowledge, I think, if you're going to be running a server. The simple solution to doing this is to just go to this website, mc-packs.net, open up your file explorer, go to your resource packs, go in here, select both of these, and you can add them to archive. This is if you have WinRAR, but you can do this in other methods just to get a zip of that folder. And then drag that into the select folder and complete the CAPTCHA. And then you can click upload. This will give you two links. So we're going to copy this first link and then go over to your server host, whatever it is, and you want to navigate to the configs or server property. Server.property is the file. And in here you want to search for resource pack, and there'll be a resource pack URL. I'm going to change this out for that link we just copied. And now in here you can also select require resource pack. This will make it so if someone joins the server, they need to apply the resource pack or they will be kicked out. So then you just want to save and restart the server. Depending on what server host you have, you might want to stop the server before you make these changes and then start it up again. This one, Pebble host, does have a way to restart with the save changes. So now you see back in the game, we will have this world specific resources, which matches the resource pack we made before, and it matches the zip too. And that's the simple way to do it, but there are a few reasons I think you should not do this. The number one reason is that you cannot change this now that you have on the server. If you want to make any changes to the resource pack, you're going to have to completely shut down the server, generate a new link, and upload that link again to the configs, and then start the server up again. And sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you have players on and you want to change a resource pack without kicking them out. And I want to show you a way to do this with Github, that you can just push new changes to the server resource pack without having to restart. And then when players relog, they will get the text changes. And this is a little bit complicated, but it is something that's important to know, especially if you're going to be doing server hosting and other technical things with web development and stuff like that. Github is a very useful tool to know, and this is just one way you can implement it. So the first thing you want to do for this is go to git-scm.com and find the installs, and you just want to install this on your computer. If you're on Windows, obviously do whatever system you need. So I'm going to go ahead and download this, and we're just going to open that up and install it. But once you've done that, you can go into your resource pack folder and then into that resource pack and right click, and you should see some new context menus. We're going to do open git bash here, and what we're going to do is type in this menu git init -b main, and then press enter. And this will initialize our Git repository right here. And we can close that. The next step is to go to this website, github.com. And what we're going to do is over here on the left where it says top repositories, we're just going to click new. And you can call this something, really anything. I'm going to call it the same thing as the resource pack. And then we're going to make sure readme is off, the git ignore, no git ignore, and make sure it's public. And then just do create repository. Then it's going to give us this thing, quick setup, and it's going to give us the HTTPS that we're going to copy. Back in the resource pack, we're going to right click again and do open git bash. And in here, we're going to do git add -A, and press enter. And then do git commit -m, and then with quotations, you want to write just a message for what changes you made. And you're going to have to do this every single time you make a change so you can upload it to the GitHub. And I'm just going to say initial setup, then press enter. Then what we're going to do is connect this to the GitHub. So we're going to do git remote add origin, and then paste that URL in here. I don't think you can do Control V, but you can right click and paste it in there. And then press enter on that. Now this may ask you to sign in with your GitHub account. It may not. I have already signed in. If you've already used Git and connected to your GitHub account, it may allow you to do this automatically. But then we're just going to do git push -u origin main, and then press enter. And it'll do some stuff. And now if we go back and check our GitHub and reload, we should see those files uploaded to the GitHub. Now ideally we would be able to now just take a permalink of this and put it into our server properties, but unfortunately the way GitHub works is it always adds a top layer to the zip, so we can never get just these files in a zip through the normal download zip. So what we're going to have to do is make a release so we have a zip that is formatted in the way we want. So over here on the right you'll see releases, and create a new release. You just want to click that and call this latest. And you can select a tag and click create new tag and just call this v1.0.0. And in the end what we're going to do is we're going to have a zip attached to this, but we're not going to do that yet because we're going to have that automated. So we're going to do publish release down here. So before we add automation, we want to go up here to settings, go down to actions over here, and then general. Scroll down to the bottom where it says workflow permissions, and just change read repository contents to read and write permissions, and then do save. So to start doing this automation, we're going to go back to the resource pack, just right click and make a new folder. We're going to call this .github, then go into there, create a new folder. We're going to call this workflows, then go into there, and we're going to make a new text document. This is going to be called release-zip.yml, and make sure you're changing the extension just like in the last video. Now we're just going to open this up and paste in here this. I'll let you see that. And then we can do file, save, and close. If we go back up to here, to the top layer of the resource pack, and open the git bash, we can do the same thing we did before, which is git add -a, then git commit -m, and then in quotations, added automation. And you'll get pretty used to these commands if you start working with Git. It's just the same things over and over again, basically every time you push. And then we're going to do git push -u origin main. So now going back to the GitHub page, you should see over here in releases, latest will now have a project.zip in here. And this is what we're going to copy the link for the server. So we're going to right click here and do copy link, then go back over here and change the resource pack URL to this, and then do another save and restart. And that's basically actually all the setup you need to do for this. Now you'll see it should look about the same. It will be the same resource pack, but this is actually pulling from GitHub instead of that other website. And as I was saying, the big benefit to this is you can push new changes to this resource pack without having to kick players out of the world. So for example, if I were to change a pixel of like the stone texture, what I can do is go back in here, open the same Git window, and you notice I'm still logged into the server. Do git add -a, git commit, changed stone texture. Oops. Make sure you put that dash in there. And then git push -u origin main. I can disconnect from the server and then reconnect, and you'll see that texture will have changed. So yeah, this is a pretty easy way. It is a little complicated to set up, but once you've done stuff like this before, it will start becoming really easy. especially since GitHub is one of those things you really should be using anyway. So that's about it. Thanks for watching.